Hi, welcome to the introductory class of Community Medicine. I am Professor Arun Kokne from the Department of Community and Family Medicine, AIIMS Bhopal. In today's class, we are going to see definition of health, dimensions of health, concept of well-being, physical quality of life index, and determinants of health. So let us look at the health as defined by WHO. WHO defines the health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So recently, the social and economically productive life is added in the definition, and as per the definition by WHO, physical, mental, and social well-being, these are the important component, as well as the social and economically productive life is also an important component of the health. Now let us look at the changing concepts of health over a period of time. So there are four concepts and which change over a period of time as per requirement. First concept is a biomedical concept. As per this concept, the absence of disease is considered as a health. But this concept doesn't take into account a social, mental, and environmental dimension. That's why this concepts required modification. A new concept came up, that is ecological concept. As per this concept, health is a dynamic equilibrium between man and his environment. So this is a better version of earlier concept, but this also doesn't take into account the biological concept or social concepts, and that's why the new concept came up, that is psychosocial concept, which takes into account the biological and social phenomena with which the man is interacting. So this was a better version of than the earlier concept. And the last concept is a holistic concept, which takes into account all the previous concepts and which is the better version of, or the best version of the changing concept. Now there are dimensions of health which decides the health of a person, and these are physical, mental, social, spiritual, emotional, vocational, and some others also mentioned. So these are the important dimensions which decides the person has to be healthy or not. If these dimensions are affected, then definitely person will not remain healthy, and that person may be labeled as a having some problem. What is physical dimension? Physical dimension implies the notion that the perfect functioning of the body. What do we mean by perfect functioning of body? That means that the state in which every cell and every organ is functioning at optimum capacity in a perfect harmony with the rest of the body. So this status or this stage or this activity is considered as a physical dimension. So in which the every cell and every organ is functioning with their optimum capacity in the body. So that is why it is called as physical dimension. Some signs of physical health as in an individual are good appetite, sound sleep, resting pulse rate, blood pressure, etc. etc. All you can count all the biological reading as well within normal limit. Let us look at the mental dimension. The following are the characteristics or attributes of mentally healthy person. So mentally healthy person should be free from the internal conflict or not at war with himself, is well adjusted with the others or the nearby people. It searches for the identity, has strong sense of self-esteem, knows himself, his needs, his problems, his goals, faces problems and tries to solve them intelligently, coping with the stress and anxiety. So these are the signs of mentally healthy person. If something happens with these characteristics, definitely we can say that the patient is having some mental problem. Now, social dimension means how the person behaves in the society, how the person has got the relations in the society or society members or the community, that decide the social dimensions of the person. Now, again, one of the important dimension, that is spiritual dimension, and many times people get confused with the mental dimension and spiritual dimension. So spiritual dimension refers to a part of individual which reaches out and strives for meaning and purpose of life. So it includes integrity, principle, ethics, purpose of life, commitment to some higher being. So these are the parts of spiritual dimension, and the mental dimension is totally different from the spiritual dimension. One more dimension which is always confused with the mental dimension, that is emotional dimension. So emotional dimension is something which is related to feeling, while the mental dimension is something which is about the knowing something, which is about the cognition. So that is the difference between emotional and the mental dimension. One more new dimension, that is the vocational dimension. For many individual, vocational dimension is supposed to be the just related to income, but actually for many individuals the dimension represent the culmination of efforts of other dimensions as they function together to produce what the individual considered life success. So how your life is success, how you consider that your life is successful with the inclusion of other dimensions as well. So that is the vocational dimension. Apart from the dimensions we have mentioned earlier, few more dimensions are there which may be taken into account, like philosophical dimension, cultural dimension, socio-economic dimensions, environmental dimensions, educational dimension, nutritional dimension, curative dimension, preventive dimension. So many dimensions are there. So these are the little, not the primary dimension, you can say the secondary dimension, but although these are also decide the quality of health person being high. What is the concept of well-being? WHO defines the health, introduce the concept of well-being, but there is no satisfactory definition of well-being. Psychologists have pointed out the well-being with the objective and subjective components. So there is an objective component which is called as standard of living or level of living, and there is subjective component which is called as quality of life. See the standard of living. So WHO defines standard of living as income and occupation, standards of housing, sanitation, nutrition, the level of provision of health, educational, recreational, and other services may all be used individually as a measure of socio-economic status and collectively as an index of standard of living. So this is how the WHO defines the standard of living. What is quality of life? Quality of life is a composite measure of physical, mental, and social well-being as pursued by each individual. That is to say, happiness, satisfaction, and gratification as it is experienced in such life concern as a health, marriage, family work, financial situation, educational opportunities, self-esteem, creativity, belongingness, and trust in others. So thus, this distinction is drawn between concept of standard of living consisting of objective criteria and of quality of life comprising the individual's own subjective evaluation of these. So we can conclude that the standard of living is a objective criteria and the quality of life is as pursued by the individual, that is a subjective concept. Physical quality of life index. The important concept of quality of life is difficult to define and even more difficult to measure. So that is why it consolidates three indicators: infant mortality, life expectancy at age 1, and literacy. So it results into PQLI, that is physical quality of life index, and it's scaled from 0 to 100. It does not take into consideration the per capita income, showing hereby that the money is not everything. In short, it does not measure economic growth. It measures the result of social, economical, and political policies. One more index, that is Human Development Index. It's a composite index combining indicators representing three dimensions. The HDI value range from 0 to 1. The HDI value for country shows the distance that is already traveled towards the maximum possible value to 1. What are the three indicators which are combined together to calculate the Human Development Index? The first is the long and healthy life, which is measured in terms of life expectancy at birth, and that is a life expectancy index. Second is the knowledge, the expected years of schooling or mean years of schooling that convert into education index. And third is a decent standard of living that is measured in terms of GNI per capita and convert into GNI index. So all these three indexes combine together to measure Human Development Index. Current slide shows the comprehensive picture of all the determinants of health which are mentioned in the books. These are the references which I have used for the preparing this slide. Thank you.